Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Christy VANN with Fantastic Finances, and on this channel I teach velocity banking. But today I am going to introduce you to someone that has helped me in so many ways to make my life more comfortable when it comes to my business taxes, setting up my EIN, the LLC. I mean, everything was smooth. I wanted to introduce Brent Carlson today. He is with the Corporate Capital Company, and he is the CEO and owner. This guy is fabulous at what he does. I am super excited to introduce him to you because he has been a game changer in my own business. Brent, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Christy. I'm really excited for this opportunity, but I'm even more excited for what we're going to be able to do for you and our short conversations that we've had to be able to look at your structure and identify things that we can tweak here and there and really maximize, put that money back into your pocket. So right. I really appreciate this opportunity. Quick overview of our company. We're a full service incorporating firm. So we help set up corporations and LLCs in all 50 states. We help with taxes, bookkeeping, and accounting. And then we also offer some trust, which we'll talk about in the future. Today, I wanted to focus on the tax preparation for the most part, because we're coming into the end of the year. And it's very important as business owners or real estate investors to really look at what options do we have available to us before that December 31st clock strikes midnight. And so a lot of our new clients, as Christy can attest, we are bringing on for the 2024 tax preparation. Even though we're filing them next year, we're actually enrolling them early because we're looking at different ways to identify strategies that will minimize their bottom line of their company, but still put more money back into their pocket. And that is very, very important. Before I get into that, I want to talk real quick about setting up corporations and LLCs. And as Christy mentioned, there's a lot that it comes to setting up a corporation or an LLC. It's not just going to the Secretary of State and filing a name, which a lot of people have done who have come to us. It's okay. At least we took that first initial step. But a lot of us have set up that corporation or LLC and they don't have all the proper records. A lot of us too have probably set up our LLC or corporation in our home state. And there's so many states like Nevada and Wyoming and Delaware that are the most business friendly state that I really encourage you guys to do your research and look at those states compared to where you are currently incorporated and see the difference. The main difference is the corporate veil. We're as entrepreneurs, we're taking a chance, we're investing, we're working our tails off for our business or whatever it is. The last thing I want to have happen is something happen with corporate capital and they come after everything Brent Carlson owns. So I have set up my business in Nevada because I live here in Nevada, but most of our clients, 13,000 clients that we work with, 99.9% of them are either in Nevada or Wyoming because the corporate veil does not allow it to be penetrated and they can sue you personally. So that is something that I want the audience to be aware of. One thing I wanted to show was this corporate record book. We put together a corporate record book, which many of you have, I assume, and many of you don't have. But inside this book, it has everything from your EIN all the way to these stock certificates here. These membership certificates are super important when it comes to issuing the ownership of the company. So most of our clients will have the certificates issued to some sort of trust, which again, we'll talk about at a later date when it comes to asset protection. But when it comes to the LLC, regardless of what state you're in, you can have it taxed however you'd like. So it can be taxed as a single member LLC. It could be taxed as a partnership, but a partnership still pays that 15.3% self-employment tax. It also could be taxed as an S corporation, which we find most of our clients, the S corporation makes the most sense. Because then at that point, you're able to pay yourself a modest salary and keep your W-2, so your Social Security, your Medicare, all that to a minimum, which I've done. I'm an S corporation as well. So I'll pay myself a minimum and then I'll take the rest as a distribution. So for those of you, and there's a lot of you out there, I've signed up 2 real estate agents this week that are both grossing between 250 and 300 that were acting as a sole proprietorship for the last 3-4 years. Literally saved both of them between $40,000 and $50,000 by simply just changing the election of the LLC that they already had in place. And of course, I asked the question, why wasn't that mentioned to you prior? And one lady said, my CPA said, we'll learn together. And she just laughed and said, I'm not going to do that. And then the other one said he just wasn't familiar with the S corporation, which is absolutely concerning to me because that is the most advantageous way most businesses need to be taxed. So, look at your tax situation and look at what you can do to minimize that bottom line. And that S corporation, in a lot of cases, for those of you who have a business that have a significant profit at the end of the year, if you're not an S corporation, have that conversation. One thing that I promised to Christy, and all of the owners and founders of our company are the only ones that are going to work with her audience. We did set up a phone number, 855-603-4566. Again, that's 855-603-4566. And all of those calls are going to either myself, Flo, or Jamie, who again are either the owners or founders of the company. Because we want to make sure that we take the time to look at your situation and really provide those recommendations before the end of the year. I'll go over a couple of those recommendations and things that you can look at within your portfolio. Paying your kids is one of them. A lot of people have heard about paying your children. I've been doing it for the last 6 years. So this year, it was a $14,000 allowance that I was able to pay 3 of my 4 boys because they're still under 18. So by paying them $14,000 each, I'm able to minimize my taxable income by $42,000 in that scenario. That money goes to my kids, which my 17-year-old just bought a Lexus with his own money because we've been paying him over the years. So instead of that money going to dad and getting taxed at a high tax bracket, we have it going directly to our kids. And that's when we've done investments like vehicles, or we've done IBC or whole life policies. We've done Roth. We've done it all. And I've started my kids at a young age. So if you're in that position and you're not taking advantage of that, that is something that we like to look at as a company before the end of the year.
Okay, I gotta stop you.
Yes, stop.
I am totally ignorant when it comes to this business stuff, the tax side. So people think because Vantastic has such a great following, and the business is running, they're like, oh, Christy VANN, she knows how to handle. No, Christy VANN knows nothing, nothing about handling business. I literally failed algebra, and I tell people that when I do these numbers, if this wasn't basic math that I taught, I'd be in trouble because I don't like math. But when it comes to business, I have no idea. And I want everyone to be aware that when I'm sitting here listening to Brent, I'm learning just like you are. Okay. The fact is that this is another side of corporate America, you could say, that they may be aware of, but us little people like myself have no idea. We don't have a clue.
And we all qualify. And we all qualify for it.
Isn't that crazy? So, when I reached out to Brent, I actually met you at Chris Nuggles' convention that he had not long ago. And I heard you talking and I was like, wow, everything you would say was like, I need this guy. So I literally fired my CPA. I wrote him an email and I said, your services are no longer needed for a couple of reasons. One, I was paying for a bookkeeper every month and I never got any bookkeeping done. Two, I found out, and I don't even know if I shared this with you or not, but when I reached out to the bookkeeper after I met you, she even no longer still works for the company. And I'm like, what am I being charged for?
That would have been nice to know, right?
Yeah. And then 3, my CPA didn't even know or tell me about the BOI. I had no idea about that until I heard you talking about it. So like myself, I give out free information for people so that they're able to, find some financial peace. And you, no longer than we've been working together here, you've already brought peace for my taxes in. I told you my 2023 taxes were all to pieces because I didn't understand, what I could claim, what I couldn't, what I needed to do. Your company took that over within a couple of days. I'm already feeling at peace about that. You've already filed my BOI. That happened in a day. I mean, it's just things are finally unfolding for me. So guys, if you're listening to this and you're hearing us talk about this mundane tax stuff, listen up, because this is not just something that you should blow off. This could be an avenue for you that's going to help you find some of that money that you've maybe been throwing away to the IRS like I was. I just see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to filing taxes. is I am not stressed out about 2024 like I was 2023 because now I have somebody handling that for me. And, you know, I didn't think I could afford this. I didn't think that there were companies out there that took your bookkeeping, your CPA, your work, all this stuff and put it into one bundle. And you guys are so affordable that anybody can afford you. That's a joke. I know companies, S corps, that are paying $10,000 a year to their CPA to be getting their taxes filed. And now that I've worked with your company, I'm like, it's, you know, everything is a scam. Everything is a scam somewhere, it feels like. And the more I learn, the more I realize that we have to be aware. We have to be looking around, trying to find these answers. And if you've heard me talk at all on my channel, you know that I give the Lord the credit because I feel like all wisdom comes from him. And when I ask for help, he always has somebody show up for me. And you just happen to be that. So I want to personally thank you. But I also want to make the audience aware that if you think that this is not for you, listen, this may be some wisdom that you've been looking for that you weren't even aware you were looking for. So go ahead, Brent. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No, you're fine.
it's so serious.
And you said exactly what I tell people. There's a lot of people out there that are really good at making money. But when it comes to running a business and when it comes to the financials, they have no clue. And there's nothing wrong with that. At least we're good at the relationships. Yeah, you came up to me right after I was done speaking and said, I need your help. And I think you became a client the next day or, right when we returned, because we are proactive there. We want to identify those solutions. We don't want to have a lot of feedback what we're receiving where people are having to go to their CPA and ask them these types of questions when they learn about them on forums like this, as opposed to if they knew about it, why weren't they implementing it from the beginning? Right. And so that's my concern when people tell me that they haven't been doing it. Now, my last two real estate agents were both nearly making $300,000. It's just absurd that they were a sole proprietorship. The other thing I wanted to talk about as far as tax planning is the Augusta rule. You can also look into that. That is something where you can pay yourself 14 times a year. The IRS allows. There's a cap on it because on the national average, and we have all the comps from across the country, the national average is about $2,000 a pop, Christy, to have a meeting at like Del Frisco's or Bellagio in Las Vegas. So you're able to pay yourself 14 times a year, which we can still make up those payments this year if you qualify. And you can pay yourself an additional 28 grand. Again, something, not to share my personal information too much, but I want to be an example. I've been doing that for 6 years now. So we're talking $180,000 that I've been able to pay myself from my company legally and not have to claim that as income for me and my wife personally, and corporate capital got that deduction. That is such a huge thing to take advantage of. So we want people to look at that stuff. We want them to look at where they're structured. Does it make sense to convert and change it to Nevada or Wyoming? Or does a holding company make sense and just keep the structure as is? Those are all the things that we can talk about, and we would love to talk about with you. The last thing I'll mention is the BOI reports. Christy did talk about the BOI report. That is something that it's so frustrating to me that the government hasn't done everything they can to broadcast it all over the networks like they do other things, but they're not. It's really kind of just sitting there very quiet, and it's going to sneak up on people January 1st. So the BOI report is the Beneficial Ownership Information Report. So it's part of the FinCEN department. It's a federal investigative crime division of the government. So any active LLC or corporation, regardless if you're using it, I get that all the time. Well, I'm not using it. If you've kept it active in your state, you must file this report by December 31st, or you'll have a $500 per day penalty, up to a $10,000 fine that can be imposed, and 2 years in prison. So they're not making this a suggestion. It's an absolute requirement. So we put together a new department at Corporate Capital, and I have several companies. So I was actually the first one that we filed in early January. So since then, we filed over 500 of these reports. And so we encourage people to, have a company look at helping them, or if you get stuck, give us a call. One good benefit about when you file the report is if we file that initial report, when your identification expires, and here's another little hint for those of you that are going to do it on your own. If your passport expires in 2032, but your driver's license expires next year, use your passport. Because once your identification expires, you have 30 days to refile this report, or you're going to start getting hit with that $500 a day penalty. So again, a good benefit of like a Corporate Capital or a professional company doing that for you is they will take that identification and put it on an Excel spreadsheet. So we know exactly when Christy's driver's license expires. So we'll be reaching out to her, let's say in November of 2029, to say, hey, your driver's license or your identification card has expired. We must file this report. And so those are some of the things we help you stay on top of, like being a registered agent, and make sure that those annual filings for your LLC are done on time, and all the state and federal regulation or the meeting minutes of your corporate record book. Some of you have probably never done meeting minutes. You know, you can waive those meeting minutes, or you can actually hold them, which we help our clients do both. But those are some of the things that Christy and I wanted to talk about and just share with the audience, because we are coming up to the end of the year. We all work very, very hard. If you're watching this, you work hard, and we all want to keep as much money as possible. And a quick conversation, we could identify, you know, possible thousands of dollars like in tax savings, like we've been able to do with the last few examples, and even Christy.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
give us the telephone number again that they would call to get directly in touch with you guys.
Absolutely. And again, that will ring to my 3 assistants now. We actually just brought on a new girl. So we have Jocelyn, Taylor, and Kaylee. And then Flo is one of the founders, Flo Turn, and then Jamie Cap, and then myself. We will all be taking these calls at 855-603-4566. I'll say that one more time, 855-603-4566. And there's no strings attached. If you just want a free consultation or just have a couple questions about the video, it literally could be that simple of a conversation. For those of you who need real help, we usually will schedule like a 60-minute consultation and go over your entire structure, and then just provide you a structure review, or maybe an approximation of, if you were to make this change, this is what those tax savings would be. And that's what we did with those real estate ladies, Christy, is we looked at their income. If they were to stay a sole proprietor, we did a pro forma tax return. So basically did it for them and said, if you keep it this way, you're going to be paying $45,000 additional, is one example. And that's just a lot of money when you can just simply do an election. And some people think it's too complicated to be an S Corp, or they don't want to deal with the paperwork. I'm like, you'd rather not have $1,000 worth of fees or a little paperwork and overpay $49,000. I would rather you guys put that back into your pockets, put it into the stock market, put it into crypto, put it into whatever you believe, but don't put it in the IRS's hands. And that is what I will leave you with, because I love our country. I don't mind paying taxes, but I'm not going to pay more than I have to, period. And I don't.
No, that's why I am so excited about that you guys have taken over my my returns. I am bringing this out to the audience because it is so important that we, like he said, let's save our money and put it in things that's going to invest in ourselves, invest in the markets, whatever you want to do. But why in the world would you throw out tax money that you don't have to throw out? And it's legal. We're not trying to do anything illegal here. This is about keeping everybody right where they need to be, but paying the taxes that you have to pay instead of the ones that you don't need to pay. One more question, Brent. When we're talking about using your company, are we talking about that $10,000 CPA fee that some of these companies are paying out there?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, first off, when it comes to an S Corp, I'll give you a great example, because we have a flat fee that we charge for an S Corp. So whether someone's making 60 million or 60,000, we're usually around $997 is what we charge for an S Corp. And we include all the consulting. We never bill by the hour. So every quarter, if you have questions, we can do an estimated tax payment with you. But we don't, and some companies will take advantage of that. I'll give you an example. I had a guy that was paying $2,900 to a CPA in California. He told me that, you're never supposed to talk first, but he told me that and told me what he paid. And I said, hey, listen, for an LLC, we charge this. And for a personal return, we charge this. I saved him like $1,800. I could have charged him $2,000 and he would have been tickled pink, literally. Right. But I didn't have to. I wasn't going to do that. We just want to offer a fair fee, because relationships like this, referrals will just naturally take place when you do the right thing by the client. And that's what we want to do. And we want to identify some of these tax plan strategies. And you brought up a good point, Christy. So when there are things like the Augusta rule or paying your children, it's not as easy as just keeping a receipt. Sometimes there's some requirements with the IRS, like paperwork that needs to get filed, payroll reports. For the Augusta rule, we have to do meeting minutes. So sometimes when we need to help do the planning, we'll show our clients, like, you're going to save $14,000, but we may have to charge you $2,500 to implement that plan at least the first year, because you want that as a business owner. And I don't want people to look at it like corporate capital is getting $2,500. I want you to look at it like you're getting 12.5 or 11.5 and the IRS can pound sand, because otherwise that's the only other option. We take advantage of this or we don't, and we pay the IRS. Now, a lot of our clients, not a lot, most, I mean, I shouldn't say not even most. There are a few clients that want to do this on their own, so they try to keep track of their own minutes and implement this strategy. We'll still educate you on the strategy, and you can by all means do that. But we recommend you have us do it and then manage it for you. And then every quarter, we actually manage it for our clients. We do all the meeting minutes for them. We make sure the payroll reports are submitted for their children, so they're always in compliance. And that is all part of that service. But as far as just the tax part, any questions you have, if you're buying a house, if you're flipping, if you're doing a 1031 exchange, if you're pulling money out of retirement early, you can call us anytime throughout the year, and you're not going to get a bill for that. So, we file the taxes in March, April. You have a question next November, December, you pick up the phone, you call the team and you tell them what's going on, and they'll give you a scenario of what that tax situation will look like. And that kind of relationship is super important, especially for those of you who are growing slowly. And then again, I do want to mention that BOI report again. Write that down. It's free to file. You guys can certainly file it on your own. It's not that difficult. At the same time, we just want to make sure it's done right, since we're getting closer to that deadline. So one thing with us doing so many, we can assure you it's going to be done right and refiled in the future. But again, take a stab at it. Just look into it. It's not that difficult. You really don't have to pay anyone. And then I told Christy, if you guys have a couple questions about that report, I'm happy to answer those. And then obviously, if we have to file it for you, we can let you know what that looks like. But it's just we're getting down to that 11th hour, and I know there's going to be people on this podcast that are going to forget to file this report, and just please don't, because they're not going to give forgiveness on it. They're expecting it to be filed on time.
Right.
All
Well,
right.
I appreciate you so much. Like I said, you've already saved me at least $500 a day for filing that report for me. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on today, because I know that there are people out there, like I said, they're just frazzled when it comes to what do I do with my business, even from the very get-go of just setting one up. So I know you guys can do it. I have complete confidence in you. And, you work with Chris and August's team, so I know that you have to be the best just to be a part of them. So I appreciate you. I appreciate just you answering my questions, and you've been so kind to do so. And that's why I want to, push your company out there and let them know that there is somebody that will help them with any of their business questions. So thank you again for coming on today.
You're welcome. And I just want to tell everyone, like I told Christy, we want you to feel like you're part of our family. We're going to keep it professional. We're going to have that professional relationship. But like my wife and I founded this company back in 2013. She went out during COVID. So we made a change there, but it's like a family here. So we want you to feel like part of the family. When it comes to accounting, we always put you in teams of 2, because we want you to have that relationship. We want you to be able to call and ask these questions or shoot a quick email before you make any financial decision, because there could be some repercussions on the back end, and we want you to be aware of those. And that's the type of relationship. So if you're looking for that, we would love to talk to you. Christy is super genuine, and her referrals so far have just been really genuine, pleasant to work with. And that's me. That's my personality. What you see is what you get. And I think you get the same with Christy. And if you'd like to be a part of that team, I would love to have you. And if for nothing else, hopefully you learned something today, and take that knowledge and ask your current team about it and see what they say. And again, just make sure you guys file those BOI reports on time. And Christy, thank you so much. I will tell the audience that I have asset protection trust and revocable living trust that we also set up in-house. That is a whole nother topic. It's a beautiful topic. It's very important. So Christy and I have talked about doing that for you guys here shortly. So I look forward to presenting you guys with that material and that knowledge, so we can start planning for our family legacy and protecting those who really have significant assets. So I look forward to that opportunity. And thank you again, Christy.
You are welcome. And for you guys out there watching, like I said, you're going to have a number that you can call. He's mentioned it a couple of times. I'll put it in the description under this video. I hope you guys have a terrific rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.